Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing alright out there. So I'm just out in the DR giving it a bit of a run. I have given it an oil change since the green laning day because it had a hard day and it needed it anyway, so that's been done. So this is really the first, you were going to cut in there, weren't you? The first proper run on it, just to make sure everything's all good. Although I will say, the day after I went green laning, I took it out and it started chalk on the tyres. I went round a roundabout, and when I touched the side of the, leaned over the tyre a little bit, oh yes, Slide City. But anyway, I want to talk about something else that happened recently that made me realise, you think about things in a weird way. We really are living in the future. I'm not even that old. I'm like 39, 40 in December, but the other day I went to lock the back door at about 3 in the morning. And I was using my smartwatch on my wrist, because you can turn the flashlight on it with the screen turns into a light, as a light, so I see what I could do. So as I walk up to the door, I've got my earbuds in, I've got this smartwatch on my wrist, I've got a phone in my pocket, and I just look and go, Jesus, we really are living in the future. Because when I was young, a watch that was incredibly amazing technology-wise was one that was digital and could do calculations and could also be programmed for remote controls for much shenanigans at school, where you taught your watch the school TV power button. That really confused them. The internet computers are new, mobile phones had just existed in the sense that you could call people. I remember when texting became a thing. Texts. And here I am, stood looking at my own reflection in a window with a smartwatch on my wrist, which tells me the time, has all sorts of biological stuff about heart rate and blood oxygen in it. It's connected by GPS and it could do so much bloody stuff. And this is a really cheap watch, by the way. It's just a CMF Pro Watch 2. Watch 2 Pro? It's like 60 quid. And I've got my earbuds in. These also are CMF earbuds because they're cheap. And they got active noise cancelling, and I got them quite recently, and active noise cancelling has changed my life somewhat, and I feel like I may do a whole video talking about that in the future, but just know I bloody love active noise cancelling headphones. So I've got these in my ears that are augmenting my hearing, you might say, so I don't have to listen to the annoying sounds of the fridge or the freezer or anything like that as I go downstairs. And I've got a phone in my pocket which can connect to anyone. It's got GPS on it. I've got access to all of the knowledge of humans on Earth that have ever existed that's available on the internet. I mean, in these day and age, most of the information on the internet is wrong because it's been purposely put there wrong. And I do wonder about how history is going to go in a long, long time when they're delving through digital sort of archaeology and they're trying to go well, what was true and what wasn't? Most of it wasn't. By the way, my phone is just like a Samsung A52S, I think. It's not an expensive phone. So I've got a relatively cheap phone. It can't do nearly what half of, the top end iPhones and things can do with all their photogrammetry and 3D mapping and stuff like that they can do, scanning. My watch is just very simple, and my headphones are very simple. They don't do amazing, ridiculous stuff, but even with the budget stuff today, when I was young, if I told myself I'd have all these things, I would believe that I was in the future that I dreamt I would be in. But we don't ever see it as being that future. We just thought, no, it's not what I thought it was going to be like. Yeah, we got all this technology and we got this stuff. We've got AI now, and the increases in technology has just got insane. And you don't see it while you're in it, if you know what I mean. Like errors, times. It's only once it's actually passed is when you can recognise it as being that time. Like, the best job you had, you won't know until you've had a few and left them and have had time to look back on it. Like when I was growing up in the 90s and the 2000s, I thought it would have been really cool to be born in the 50s, because I know I would have been a mechanical or engineering apprentice and I would have walked into a job, and kind of do sometimes wish that was the way things were, because I know I would be in a stable job now doing something I love, because there were so many of those jobs around here. It's easy, it's local. There's no local engineering jobs or anything around here, and obviously apprenticeships aren't the same thing. And let's just not get into that. The point is, at the time I thought technology had, progressed a lot before me, but everything, it always felt like things were stagnating, like they were slowing down. But it's once you move past it and you see, the arrival of drones, the internet, phones, all the technology, AI, and it all starts to build up, and you realise, whoa, we really did progress a long way in technology in a short amount of time. The past 20 years has been nuts. I mean, even just looking back to computer game graphics, the original PlayStation, right? You think it looked okay. You may even say you thought it looked amazing because of how much better it looked compared to all the things you were used to before that. And now, if you look compared to a console, it looks terrible. And if you look at a console compared to a very good PC, console's not looking too good either. I mean, that's one of the things. I never thought I'd switch to PC gaming, but I have. The last console I had was a Xbox One, which I bought years after they came out, and it's now basically a media extender more than it is ever used for playing actual Xbox games. There is another side to technology which has massively progressed, and you probably won't think about it too much, but you know it has. Cordless tools. Because of the batteries of lithium ion, and they're getting better at using the power better and making more powerful motors that are more efficient, power tools have gone from the old Black & Decker horrible NiCad battery, awfully underpowered cordless drill. And now you have all this brushless technology with like DeWalt's and Makita's and all the other brands. I'm not picking one as being the best. They're all insane at what they can do. And a lot of it comes down to how much you're spending in their range as to how good the tool's going to be. So, I don't want to get into that argument. But they are all insane compared to what they used to be. I mean, literally insane. Battery-powered angle grinders. Do you know what people would have given for a battery-powered angle grinder back in the 90s? And yeah, okay, there may have been some available, and you can say, well, you get airline ones, and then it's, it's basically the same. Yeah, all right, but stick within the parameters of my point. I was born around the time that CDs really took off, I think. I was born about 85, and I think it was after that they really started to progress. I watched that be a thing, thought that would be the thing forever. And then one week, MP3 came along, and the next week, CDs were dead. Well, not quite like that, but they basically were. Two other massive inventions that people, you just accept it's there, it's a thing, whatever, but it's changed so much. Drones. I said when drones were called quadcopters, or tricopters even, because they were triangular with 3 blades. I made a video on this. I said that, I referred to it as, it is a toy at this point, but it is a platform which you could put other things on. At that time, no one was talking about, in the people that I spoke to, or who was ever even mentioned the idea of sticking bombs or things on drones, but now it's the current most effective warfare technique, I believe, against anti-personnel and even anti-vehicle. And 3D printing, which crosses over with that as well, because you 3D print, drones. I don't know if people realise how much of a huge step we have actually taken in so many places. But then at the same time, what are you going to do? Do what I do, make a video and go, wow, isn't it mad, and carry on. But sometimes, you find a moment, like when I was staring at myself in that window, looking like something out of Star Trek, like how things move forward. I mean, I remember when Star Trek, one of the impressive things was the automatic doors. We didn't really pay much attention to some of the other devices and technology they had because it was too far outside of our realms of understanding to know what it could possibly be. I mean, like when they had those little, basically tablets. They had tablets before tablets were tablets. And okay, we don't have molecular replicators, but we do have 3D printers, which are PLA replicators or TPU or whatever you put in it. I mean, there's even more weird things now. They've now got a 3D printer which can print things out of silicon by pumping the liquid silicon into another gel of a different viscosity with a moving needle. And they can make like hoses and gaskets and all sorts of stuff with this technology. It's nuts. What's also amazing, and I do really like to see, because it is more like the back of the old days when everyone was into engineering, how many people now are engineering and producing products themselves because they can do rapid prototyping, testing, and then getting manufacturers to just, make the thing they want. I mean, look in the pandemic, how much 3D printers were used to make PPE. Without that, there just wouldn't have been the response time on getting what they needed when they needed it. Because if you're going to injection mold that, you're going to need more molds. It means you're going to have to do more tooling, get the machine set up. The whole process has to be set up. It takes a long time to get that running. With a 3D printer, you upload the file and it prints that. You have 100 of the printers, you print 100 at a time. Oh, if you can fit more than one on a bed, you can print 200 at a time. You know what I mean? It's, as far as rapid basic manufacturing goes, 3D printing is nuts. Even in my job, it's changed entirely. Okay, the platform and YouTube, and let's not against that, and people and socialness, yeah, the world is entirely different to the way it was 15, 20 years ago. Not for the better. But the cameras I started out with was, the first GoPro had come out a few years before I started vlogging, and it was an absolute brick and it was rubbish. And, then cameras started doing HD, 720p, and it was like the best thing you'd ever seen at 30 FPS, wow. And now we're at 4K, 120 FPS on a normal camera. Like, if you're unaware of this, 4K is 4 times the image density or sort of detail as 1080p. 4 times. So imagine 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4K compared to 1080p videos displayed at their native resolutions. It is massive. The data involved that's the other one. The other one, I bought a 128 or 256 megabyte SD card. 256, that was it, 256, and it cost me £52. It was a compact flash, it wasn't an SD at that point. And now they're getting terabytes on chips this small. The computing power of computers has gone through the roof. We only really started playing with AI and stuff in the past, 3-4 years, and it's changed the world. I've made a video saying that we've passed a point of no return. AI has changed the way that things are forever and will be forever. Unless we have a big sort of scenario where we don't have computers anymore. Or humans. I'm not talking about Skynet. As I say, when you stop for a minute and you actually think about how things have progressed, you realise how life just flies by and technologies come and go, and you just accept this as, this is a cool new thing, that's a cool new thing, and we just don't think. It's just this ever onward march and progression, which seems to be both great for us and really bad for us at the same time. And I don't know which way it's going to come out, honestly, in the end. But I am forever optimistic and hopeful, so I hope that it will actually prove, we'll go through our teething issues and things will settle down in time to come, and we won't know that we're in a time where social media nearly ripped us apart, during a time where the world got back at basically at war with each other. Yeah, it's alright, they pulled out on me a minute ago, kind of, not really, not enough for me to moan about. What do you think about this? And I'd also love to know about any technologies that have, hugely progressed in your job or in your life, or just something that I haven't mentioned here that you think's worthy of mentioning, of its vast, steps forward, and maybe it's not been mentioned and people aren't appreciating how big a deal that actually is. I'm sure there is some in medicine, without doubt. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new here. Huge thanks to my Patreon supporters and YouTube members. You are the only reason this channel is still going, and your numbers are dwindling, so I could do with more people getting on board. That would be great to secure the future of this channel. But anyway, until the next one, bye bye.